All right, so in this module, module 2, we're going to talk about how Gmail works. We're going to talk about promo box and personalization email marketing. And we're going to have a deeper dive into understanding Gmail and how it looks at your email marketing and how you can logically maximize your inbox rate to get the best sales. Okay, so first let's talk about Gmail a little bit further. The first thing you'll know is that there's multiple tabs available when you come to your Gmail. There's primary, social, promotion, updates, and form. Now the default is primary, social, and promotion, but people can update and completely open up the tabs that you have available in your inbox. So my personal tabs, I like to have them all open because for me as an email marketer, I like to see different things that happen and what happens. So now I know the first thing that people continue to think about is very simple. Oh, I want to be in the primary inbox. Now, remember that Gmail is a behavioral based email system. Now, let me tell you something pretty interesting about the way behavioral based email systems really work. Gmail says, I want to serve my audience with the best experience that they should have at a primary level to them and them only, not each and every person. So when I talk about this example, if I talk about 3 different people, Joe, Sue, and Bob, Joe, Sue, and Bob may receive your email, for example, and it may end up in different inboxes. Now, what that means by that is it may end up in primary, social, promotion, updates, whatever it may be, all depend on the habits of your marketer or the person opening that email. Your goal as a marketer is to engage with them at such a high level that it always ends up in their primary, because Gmail looks at those emails and say, hey, this person engaging or looking at these emails at a much higher rate than they do a lot of other emails. This must not be promotional. This must be something else. Now, with email in general, promotional email is pretty standard when it comes to your promotional emails, right? Let's face it, you are sending promotional or you're sending bulk email, and that is technically by rule of what a promotional email is, should land in that promotional tab. But what I'm going to talk about really is understanding what will really trigger that. And my goal is to really be simple, to try to help encourage and teach you the ways to make sure that you're avoiding that personalized, your promotional box, and you're working on personalizing that email to the maximum ability. So there's 2 things that you've got to really think about. 1, why does my email go into promotional box? And 2, what can I do to help offset that promotional box? So let's talk about that promotional box first, because I think it's really important to understand. All right, so the things that really drive a person into a promotional box are very simple. The first thing you're always going to see is always based on set templates. Okay, I know they look nice, the same format every time, the same look, but guess who does this, right? Think about large companies, Apple, Facebook, Yahoo, Amazon. These are the companies that do it. Now, why do they do it? Because it gives them a corporate look. Now, by using templates, right, it can provide a great cohesive brand feel. That's great, right? And if you own a company that does that kind of branding, well, it's better to focus on that than the promotional box. But if you don't want to worry about that, you should be always considering either a blank template, a very simple blank template, which is one that a lot of companies like email service providers offer, or the idea is to always be changing your template with custom fresh images and so forth. Obviously, that's up to you. Even down to signatures and footers can really cause and drive that promotional box a lot more than the primary box. So that's the first tip when it comes down to what your email and why it goes to the primary box. The second one is talking about big keywords. I'm talking about things like Google, Facebook, Bing, Yahoo, Twitter, YouTube. All these are authority keywords. You should be avoiding them because Google filters are going to be flagging it based on it. So let me talk about a few examples here how you avoid it, right? So if I talk about Google, I say the big G, or the largest search engine in the world, or Facebook, FB, or the largest social media platform, or YouTube I would be looking at as YT, or the Tube, or the best video hosting option, or something like that. Something that you try to take those keywords and spin it so you're still talking about it. Remember, it's all about creativity with email as email continues to change. Number 3, we're talking about think SEO for email. When it comes to SEO, right, you guys know what SEO is, search engine optimization. Your content needs to be original in order to rank in the search engines, right? Copy and pasting no longer works in email marketing, just like it doesn't work on a website as well. Google has the same filters in Gmail, just like they have for your search engine. So you can't take a email that was from somewhere else or someone provided you, just drop them into your autoresponder or email servicing plan and drop them and send them and think that they're going to max maximize and get the best results, right? Not only are you going to trigger spam most likely if it's one that's been used very heavily, but it also can very often trigger the promotional tab, because if you're sending a lot of emails, and same people are sending a lot of emails, Google looks at it and says, hey, this must be a promotional email because this many people are sending it. So, let's just say like, what's that called again? Depending on what you're doing, let's just say as an affiliate marketer, you're promoting a product, right? And, the product is a few hundred affiliates, maybe 500 affiliates, whatever they say, right? Let's just say about 10% of those people decide, all right? 10% of those 500 decide they're going to copy. So 50 people copy, and an average person has about the 2,500 email list, right? So if you have 50 people copy and paste it at 2,500 emails each, that's all they have. They're not huge affiliates. And that means that it's 1.25. Do the math. 50 times 2,500 is 1.25 emails that get same with the exact same copy. How do you think Gmail or anybody is going to look at that email? First, they're going to think about it as promotional. Secondly, they might even put it in spam box. It's going to greatly decrease. Now, the tip here is very simple. What I say about how this should be approached is very simple. You should be adding your own voice. Think of these emails that people may give you as guidance. Look at them as guidance of explaining the trail and the keywords and the thought process, but don't use them as your own emails. Take that email, wrap your voice into it, wrap your personality into it, and go from there. All right, so images is number 4 of the promo box, okay? So what I'm talking about images is very simple. I'm sure you've seen on Google before. You can go on Google and you can go to images and you can load any image on and say, hey, what looks like this on the internet? Now, what's very interesting is Google is now scrubbing each and every image to their system when you send email. And when they see something that's stock image or non-unique, it'll increase your promotional tab. So these stock images that you might be buying, probably not the best thing you can do, because those stock images, unfortunately, are triggering promotional box. Now, if you're, again, a large company branding, you don't care about the promotional box, then again, it doesn't matter when you're using these images and how you're using it. But in most cases, when you're a marketer and you're trying to maximize that dollar, you should be using fresh images, doctoring them up, editing them, whatever you need to do to make them your own. All right. Now let's talk about symbol formatting. That's number 5. This is where, we've been taught for years that symboling is great, exclamation points, bolding, highlighting, right? It's all absolutely great. Now, when you're doing a sales page or a members area or trying to get someone to convert in your Facebook advertising, that's all absolutely great. But unfortunately, in email, it goes the opposite way. And let me tell you the reason first so you understand, right? So first thing you do is, they say that spammers ruin everything. And the funny thing about this is absolutely true. Formatting, highlighting, changing colors, all these things are great, but it's going to always change your email perception by people, again, and your filter as well too. So just make sure you're not overusing it. Try to use a normal amount of punctuation and bold and italics. Now, I understand you need to do that in your marketing, but it's important that you're thinking about that when you're going through it. All right. Last but not least, of number 6 of the promo box is very simple: email curse words and triggers. We're going to talk about this as much as we can, but there isn't a lot to talk about. Those big words that you think about: free, buy here, click here, last chance, guarantee, promise. Those are the words that you may or may not be thinking, okay, great. These are keywords. These are informations that you've seen all these other marketers do, but it does not mean it's always the best thing. First things first, by using them too heavily, it'll probably land you into promotion box. If you overuse them, it's going to put you right into the spam box. You get the point, right? When you look spammy, you look too aggressive, well, chances are it's going to affect your delivery. Now, as we go through here, one of the things that's important is that these 6 tips that I've just shared with you aren't must-dos. They're just should-dos, if that makes sense. Over time, you've pulled up and built up your reputation. These factors won't be quite as important for your deliverability. But once you get to that point and you have strong enough interaction, you won't worry as much either at the same time. So it's important that you think about these and keep these in the back of your mind as you go through it, okay? Now, let's jump into personalized marketing. And in personalized marketing, the things that really serve are very important. I'm not going to dive deep into these because we're going to really talk about these further in different subsequent modules. Obviously, this is my way of making sure you go through the modules as well too, so you really have that open mind. But let's talk about it real quick. Personalized marketing is very simple. 1, you want to make sure you're collecting and adding at least first names at a minimum or more to your information. If you're not, and you're not because you just want to collect email, that's completely up to you. But when you lack being able to personalize that information, so it says, hey Jimmy, check this out, versus hey friend or hey, check this out, you get a very different impact of what you're doing there. So it's really important that you're thinking about that first name. The more data, the better. Number two, the more data you can collect, the better. So when you're doing opt-in, a lot of these forms that you're using will collect a lot of information from their location, their time, their device, and so forth. So trying to grab that information will allow you to personalize that marketing later when you can say something like, hey, checking in on blah, 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 right? Checking on Jimmy in San Diego. If you think about that versus thinking, hey, checking on you, or hey, checking on you in the US, allowing you to really think about it in a much deeper way. It also allows you to do segmenting and tagging, which we'll talk about more of that in Module 8, but it's allowing you to really segregate your list and also see how people are reacting, what they're doing. And of course, last but not least, it's really important in your automation, which is the next module. We're going to talk about deeply about automation. Well, it's important that you're thinking about that as you're doing your automation. So that's it for module number 2, where we talk about the Gmail inbox and how it works, the promo box and personalized marketing, and how important it is to be thinking about this when you're doing your email marketing a lot deeper than just your subject line and your body, but also what goes in it, how it goes in it, how it's actually displayed, and where it's going to help you land. Remember that Gmail box is 100% behavioral. So what that really means is very simple. If the subscribers that are listening to you hate you and don't want to listen to you, well, it's going to cause you problems. So we talk about that in module 7, where we talk about Elixir exhaustion and cleaning. We'll talk about that a little bit further and deeper then. But for now, hopefully you've enjoyed this module, and I'll see you on the next one.